Well, hello and happy August. I can't believe it's already August 1st, and we're back at interviewing our classical educators today. 5 questions, possibly less than, but we'll see, with Mr. Paul Murray. Now, Mr. Paul Murray comes to us to teach Byzantine Chant. He has an MDiv from Holy Cross Greek Orthodox School of Theology and a Byzantine Chant certificate from the same institution, and is a new dad, married to a wonderful young lady, and the daughter, of course, was just recently born. So welcome, Mr. Murray. We're glad you are with us. Tell us a little bit about yourself, and we'll go from there.
Hello, President Maria. Thank you so much. Well, I have the blessing of continuing to live on the Holy Cross Seminary campus. Even though my wife and I have both graduated, she works here for Holy Cross, and so we get to live in the beautiful community that's here. Start our marriage and our parenthood just a couple hundred feet away from a chapel, surrounded by many of our good friends. And my day job, so to speak, is I'm the administrator of St. Herman of Alaska Christian School, a kindergarten to 8th grade school. That's we have about 30 students, give or take, depending on the year. And so we're just getting ready for that right now, getting ready for my first year with St. Raphael School. I'm very excited for that.
Yeah, we're very, very excited about that, Paul. You know, many times people ask, how is it to live? And we affectionately call it the Holy Hill, right? How is it to live on the Holy Hill? And of course, Father and I, we were there for 5 years, loved every minute. And it's really hard to describe the ethos of it. But, you know, maybe give a few words just in case there's someone listening that might be interested in going to Holy Cross.
Well, let me tell you, my first couple of years here, I knew I wouldn't be ready to leave when the time came. I was just enjoying it so much. And there was a moment when I thought my time here would be cut short because of the pandemic. But by God's grace, I got to keep living here, and I got to even keep living here beyond graduation. And so the two main things about living here, one is the community that you get to be around, the kind of greater family that's here. I live up and with the married students now. I used to live in the dorm, but both of them have that strong sense of community in different ways. And being up here with the married students now, getting to see all the little children running around outside, playing on the playground, it's kind of a village in a way. But then the other thing is having the chapel right here with daily services. There's just not much that can beat that, and we can just walk there.
Yeah, it's a beautiful balance of the collegial lifestyle and lack of a better word, monastery, because there are regular services throughout the days and every day, and Orthros and Vespers and liturgies, and so there's just something about it. But yeah, it's beautiful. So anyone who is interested, of course, Hellenic College, Holy Cross, we have an undergrad and a graduate school. And of course, now we have our inside person. We can come find you, Mr. Murray.
And there's a great person in the enrollment office that'll talk to you all about it if you want to call her up.
AKA the wife.
Yes.
Despina is a doll. She's just a sweet, sweet lady. Good. I'm glad to hear everything is status quo on the Holy Hill since I left. Glad to hear that. All right. You know, Mr. Murray is going to be offering Byzantine Chant for students and for adults. Of course, we've been talking about continuing education for our adults, but he's going to be teaching it in an interesting way. So I'm going to let you talk about that, Paul.
Yeah, and I think the best way to explain it is to talk about my kind of experience with chant. When I was 10 years old, give or take, I forget the exact age, but I was serving in the altar during Lenten services. It was kind of my first experience of realizing how much I enjoyed being in church. And the chanters caught me watching them. When I was waiting for the deacon to come in, I would crack the door and I would watch the chanters. And so they had me come up there, and I just kind of started trying to imitate what the chanters did. They didn't use a lot of music for a lot of the hymns. There were some of them there was music for, but mostly it was just kind of improvising in the different modes. And so I just tried to follow along with them the best I could. And as I picked up on more and more, I started to realize, okay, this mode sort of sounds like this sounds like that. I went to Antiochian Village Chant Camp and started to get some more information there, just talking to people, learning things. And eventually when I came here to seminary, I still that was most of what I knew. I knew a little bit about Byzantine notation, a little bit about theory, but not a ton. But when I started studying the notation and when I started studying the theory, because I kind of had that background of knowing what the modes sounded like, knowing how to sing in the different modes, everything just made sense. Everything just clicked really, really easily, because it was just kind of describing things that I already knew musically. It was just helping me put words to it and then helping me enhance my understanding, because now that I had that vocabulary, I can learn new things. And so that style of learning seems to me to also fit kind of the history of how Byzantine chant developed. The theory and the notation are relatively new, especially in Orthodox times, so to speak. They're just a couple hundred years old. And so for the bulk of the history of this style of music, it was taught through oral tradition.
Yes.
You needed to find a master and study under him for 10, 15, 20 years in order to kind of learn it. And so the advantage of having the theory and notation is you don't need to invest your whole life in it to learn it. But I think there's still that aspect of it that learning it through hearing it first and understanding that will help you. And so I'm not offering as much in the Department of Notation and Theory. There are some great schools out there for that, this being one of them, Holy Cross, where I got my chant certificate. But what I'm hoping is what I can provide in the course will help novices who don't quite know what the modes sound like. It will help them perform better at the chant stand now. Perform is of course not the right word to use there because it's in prayer. But to sing more knowledgeably when they're there at the chant stand, but also prepare everyone for potential deeper future study, and hopefully make the theory and notation easier to learn and click more easily when the time comes to learn it.
Yeah, very good. I'm a big proponent of that too. I too am a child of just that. We had in my home parish a chanter, Mr. Greg Dublis, and just as a teenager, I had an aptitude for it, and it was just a matter of listening and mimicking, right? This mimesis that we talk about in classical education, right? I'm going to say it, you repeat it, and this back and forth was so powerful. So when I came to Holy Cross, of course, I knew all of the different modes. I knew all of the prosomia, which means the songs that sound like a certain song when you do in Orthros. And then I just put the notation with it. And it seems a bit backwards in the way that we learn music in school here in the United States, right? We learn about the notes and then but even here, as little children, we learn these songs, right? Ring around the rosy, or hot cross buns. And then in third grade, here's a recorder. Let's play that, right? So it is a natural way of learning this music. And I think it's fantastic because more will be absorbed. Another thing Mr. Murray is going to do is also outside of this mimesis, this back and forth learning by imitation and copying memory. He's going to also introduce the Byzantine notation and Western notation to have that one-on-one correlation. So it really is a holistic, balanced approach to learning our Byzantine hymnography. And, the first year, if I remember correctly, is the resurrectional hymns.
That's what we're going to focus on this year. Yes, learning. Part of the course one of the course requirements will be to memorize over the course of the year the 8 resurrectional apolatikia, so that everyone in the course will have a piece that we can reference together in each of the 8 modes. and say, okay, you remember second mode, it's this piece, it starts this way. And so like sing that in your head. And now that we know what that sounds like together, we can get into the mode more easily.
Beautiful. And so as you can see, Mr. Murray has a wealth of talent. His understanding of Byzantine music is deep, and not only will students get the opportunity to learn Byzantine chant, but also to learn the depth and breadth of its history, which is really important as well. When he did his teaching sample, I'll never forget it. He used the example of a love story with the students, and as I was sitting there, I was going, "Wow, this is Byzantine music," and yet it was Byzantine music. It was so well put, and the way you segued into it was beautiful. So I really appreciate how Paul kind of really focuses on the details, and within that, of course, we'll have students singing the Politikia, the resurrectional hymns right away, and really that's what we want to do. We want to take what we learn and put it into action. So that's exciting. Also, of course, we did mention the adult class. The adult class will be similar, of course, because that's, Paul's teaching style. But did you want to add anything more about the adult class?
I mean, essentially, I'm designing the two courses to be fairly identical. And I'm being new to this, I'm excited to see over the course of the year what sort of divergence that we see, if any, or if we stay on pretty parallel paths. But essentially, it's the same material for different audiences, and so like each course will kind of be just whatever group we have in each course. We'll see what's needed. Our chant professor here at the school is a master of that I got to watch the classes I did. Father Romanos Karanos is excellent at sort of giving himself a lot of flexibility, and he has the expertise as a teacher to be able to know, like, okay, we'll go down this rabbit hole now, we'll cover this in future courses, so let's wait on this. And so I'm hoping I'll be more of a novice at that, but I'm hoping to capture some of that similar ethos and be able to offer each group whatever they need at the moment.
Oh, I think you'll be fabulous. I think I'm excited. Now, if I hadn't taken all those Byzantine chant classes while I was at seminary, I would sign up. But since I did, I'll just leave it to you. There's always good to have a refresher. Always good to have a refresher. All right. So now down to some very important questions.
Okay.
All right. So question number, 1,253. I don't know. What hobbies do you enjoy? Name them and why.
So I have several hobbies. I mean, we've talked about Byzantine chant for a while. That's a hobby in much of a sense, in the sense that it's something I love to do and something that I'll put time into outside of sort of my daily commitments, although I do have some commitments with chant, of course. One of my favorite hobbies that's completely unrelated to that is playing ultimate frisbee. It's a sport I got into in college. Yes.
Wow.
I'm very bad at getting myself to exercise, but I love sports. I love watching sports. I love playing sports, and ultimate frisbee is kind of the perfect level of like, I can do well enough at it to be competitive without needing to sort of put my whole life into training for it. And so I enjoy just kind of finding pickup games, or I got put into a summer league this year here in Boston to kind of play in. And so maybe once or twice a week, I'll try to get out and do that.
Nice. I didn't realize that you were enthusiasts. I've heard about it before, but that's pretty cool. I like that.
It's a very fun sport, and it's the community is typically very welcoming to people who want to learn, and it's a good balance of athleticism helps you, but if you're not terribly athletic and you still want to play, you can find a group that you'll fit in with.
Beautiful. So I know now what when I see a frisbee, I'll be thinking about you, Paul.
Excellent.
All right. Next question. What is one food or drink you really enjoy?
I go through these funny little phases of like I really like one thing and then I sort of ignore it for a little while. But a drink this summer that we've been really enjoying is Arnold Palmer, the iced tea and lemonade mixed together.
Oh,
That's been kind of the refreshing drink. But I've also been getting into making smoothies lately. This is my breakfast smoothie for today. Just trying to get different fruits. I love smoothies. I love getting them when I go out places. And so I said when I have a kitchen and I can get a blender, I'm gonna master the art of smoothie making. So I wouldn't call myself a master at it yet, but I'm enjoying throwing fruits and different things into there and seeing what we can come up with.
Love it. I love it. Father he has a bullet and he makes quick work of it. He just throws things in there and 1, 2, 3, he's done, but he does like that too. And then that drink is like sweet and sour almost, right?
Yeah. It's a very summer kind of taste to it. And so it's been a nice refreshing treat this summer from going around cleaning up the apartment here or doing some work at the computer, just pouring myself a glass of that to enjoy while I'm going through it.
Very good. Very good. Nice. Now to a serious question. Obviously you did your undergrad, then you came to Holy Cross, then of course you met Despina, his beloved bride, had a baby. In of itself, that's a lot of changes. But my question is, what made you decide or go towards going to seminary, getting your MDiv? What kind of instigated that?
Trying to figure out how long of the story I should tell. I've got a very long version I can't tell that I'll spare you and whoever's listening. But like I said, when I was around 10, I started really enjoying being in church, and I essentially I don't remember the moment or if it was over a course of time or whatever it was. But I mean, and something to know about me is as a child, anytime I saw something, I was kind of drawn to like, okay, I'm going to try to excel in whatever this is. And so like I started playing trombone when I was in 5th grade because I saw the band up on stage at all the assemblies. It's like, all right, when I'm old enough, I'm going to do that. So I had all these sort of, I guess you can call them aspirations, but as every kid does, I'm going to be this, I'm going to be that, I'm going to do this thing. The desire to go to seminary, the desire to eventually become ordained and serve God as a priest, was one that never really went away. Everything else kind of like revealed itself over time as like, all right, that's not real. I wanted to be an author when I was little because I was reading books all the time. And as I grew up, I'm like, that's not, I don't particularly enjoy writing as much as I thought I might. So maybe that's not the thing for me. The more throughout college, as I learned more about what it means to be an adult, and then throughout seminary, as I learned more about what it means to be a priest, it's only amplified my desire to serve in that way, only made whatever God put in my heart there resonate more strongly. And so I'm grateful to be here, and now I'm grateful that I can, to live on the seminary campus and for my wife and I to both work for the church in different ways is a tremendous blessing. And so to be in a position where my life can be about working for the church, whatever God calls me to do that in going forward, it's just nothing but a joy.
Amen. Amen. Everything else fell by the wayside except for this.
Yeah, all of it. I mean, I had this ridiculous idea when I was in early elementary school of like, I'll do like, I had 10 careers. I think I wanted to, I couldn't even remember the list of them, including a professional athlete in like 3 different sports and like, whatever else. And eventually that revealed itself as ridiculous, but this was the thing that did not. And there's still, and to be a teacher now, teaching was something that was one of the more realistic things on that list. If I didn't go to seminary, I'd probably try to be like a high school math teacher or something. But now I get to work for I get to teach for St. Raphael School, I get to work for St. Herman School, and kind of live out that life that I never thought I get to live because I went straight to seminary. And so God has blessed me in ways beyond belief. And so I'm just grateful to be able to serve him every day.
Amen. And we're grateful that you have joined us, Mr. Murray. Again, Paul is teaching Byzantine Chant 1 and Adult Byzantine Chant. So please register as soon as possible. We begin orientation the end of this month, believe it or not. It's almost here. And so, our classes are open. We are here to help, and please let us know. Any last statements, Paul, before we leave?
I'm so excited to be a part of the St. Raphael School community. I look forward to meeting everyone, and I'm just excited to get started.
We are excited too. Thank you so much for coming aboard. We look forward to many, many, many years of learning under your tutelage, how to chant. And again, we are your school and we're here to help. So let us know what we can do to be of service. Thanks so much. This was, again, 5 Questions with your Classical Educator, Mr. Paul Murray.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Bye-bye.